Hi ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be going over past state test questions from 2021 and older tests, mostly rational number type questions and least common multiple, greatest common factor. So let's get started with our packet. We're going to start with number 1. If you haven't solved it yet, you can pause the video, try it out and unpause it and check to see if you agree with the solution. All right, so we want to know what's the greatest common factor of 36 and 90. So we're going to use our ladder strategy for this. I'm going to write at 36 and 90. I want to think of what factor goes into 36 and 90. I know 9 goes into both numbers. Okay, so 36 divided by 9 is 4. 90 divided by 9 is 10. From here, both of these numbers, 4 and 10, are divisible by 2. So we're going to add another rung to the ladder. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 and 5 have no other common factor besides 1, so we can stop here, and our GCF is the product of our outside numbers here, the 9 times 2, which is 18. So our GCF is 18. All right, number 2. Point A is shown on the number line below. What is the location of point A? Well, to figure out point A, I need to know how many sections are between each whole number. So if I count it out, I see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections between 0 and -1, and the same between -1 and -2. That means we're counting by 1/5. However, my multiple choice options are in decimal form. So I want to know what is 1/5 in decimal form. Since this is a multiple choice question, you will not have your calculator to use on this part. So I'm going to turn this into tenths, because tenths we can put in decimal form. 5 times 2 is 10, 1 times 2 is 2. So that's 2 tenths. 2 tenths is the same as 0.2, 2 tenths. So we're counting by 2 tenths each time here. 0.2, that's a negative, negative 0.4, negative 0.6, negative 0.8. I apologize for the sloppy writing here. Let me zoom in here. Then we've got -1, -1 and 2 tenths, -1 and 4 tenths, -1 and 6 tenths, -1 and 8 tenths. So point A is at -1 and 6 tenths. That's choice C. All right, let's move to number 3. Which point on the number line below represents the number opposite the number -5.5? Well, the opposite of -5.5 is +5.5. Right, negative tells us we're moving to the left. The opposite of that would be moving to the right into our positive numbers. So point S here is just after 5, between 5 and 6. That's 5.5. So point S, choice D. Number 4, what is the opposite of 2 and 5 tenths and -5? So I'm going to write both numbers here. We're going to find the opposite first, and then we're going to find the opposite of that. That would be the opposite of the opposite. Well, the opposite of 2 and 5 tenths is -2 and 5 tenths. The opposite of -5 is +5. Now we're going to take the opposite of these two numbers. The opposite of -2.5 is +2.5, and the opposite of 5 is -5. So we're back to our original numbers here. That's choice C. Number 5, again, we're going to find the greatest common factor. We're going to use the same strategy as before, our ladder strategy. And I know that 16 and 48 are both divisible by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 48 divided by 8 is 6. All right, 2 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So we're going to continue on. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. We can't go any further, so we're going to multiply these two together. 8 times 2 gives us 16, so our greatest common factor is 16. Now remember, when you're dividing at the beginning, you could have started with maybe 4 or 2 or 16 right away. So your ladder may look different than mine, and that's okay. You should come out with the same greatest common factor. All right, number 6. 2 whole numbers have a least common multiple of 60. Each number is less than or equal to 12. The greatest common factor of the 2 numbers is 2. So I'm going to start right away with this clue here. Each number is less than or equal to 12. Well, right away, we can cross out D because 15 is greater than 12. So I don't even have to do any work there. I know that D is not an option. Okay, now we're going to continue on with finding, well, we'll do the ladder strategy for each one and find the greatest common factor and least common multiple of all the numbers here, and we'll see which ones match up here. All right, so 6 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Well, so the GCF here is 2, so that satisfies this clue here. And now to find the LCM, we're going to multiply our L shape for the numbers. So 2 times 3 times 5 would be our LCM. Let me label this GCF. All right, so 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. All right, well, 30 is not 60, so it does not satisfy the top clue. So we got to keep going. It's not choice A. All right, 5 and 12. Well, 5 and 12, the only common factor is 1. So it does not have a GCF of 2. It's 1, so we can cross out B. So it looks like it's option C. Let's double check it. Right? 10 and 12 are both divisible by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So the GCF here is 2. And now we're going to multiply the 2 times the 5 times the 6. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 6 is 60. So the LCM here is 60. It satisfies both of these clues, so it is choice C. Number 7. Which pair of numbers has the same greatest common factor as that of 48 and 78? Well, let's find the greatest common factor of 48 and 78 first. Right, I notice that 48 and 78, they're both divisible by 2. 48 divided by 2 is 24. 78 divided by 2 is 39. All right, common mistake here. Both of these numbers are divisible by 3, and some students don't see that. They think that 39 is prime. It's not. It is divisible by 3. So 24 divided by 3 is 8, and 39 divided by 3 is 13. So our GCF is 6. So we're looking for a set of numbers that also has a GCF of 6. So let's go through and find the GCF of the other options here. 4 and 34 divisible by 2. That's 2 and 17. We can't go any further. This GCF is 2. It's not 6, so it's not choice A. All right, 8 and 18. Both of those numbers are divisible by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Can't go any further, so the GCF here is also 2. 9 and 15. 9 and 15 are both divisible by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. We can't go any further, so our GCF here is 3. Also not 6. So we know it's probably going to be D. Let's double check and do the work anyways. 12 and 30 are both divisible by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 30 divided by 6 is 5. We can't go any further. Our GCF is 6. So it's choice D. Number 8, what is the least common multiple of 8 and 12? We're going to use our ladder strategy here. 8 and 12 are divisible by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And to find the LCM, we're going to multiply the numbers in this capital L that we're highlighting on the outside. So we've got 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 3 is 24. So our LCM is 24. Okay, which statement is true? We want to know, is the quotient of 8,192 divided by 4 equal to the quotient of 4,176 divided by 2? We're going to have to do that division on the side here. All right, so 4 into 8,192. And I'm going to show the long division here. 4 goes into 8 twice. That's 8. we have a difference of 0. I'm going to bring the 1 down. 4 can't go into 1. I have to put a placeholder up. Now we're going to make that 1 into 19. 4 goes into 19 4 times. That's 16. We have a difference of 3. So I'm going to bring the 2 down. And 4 goes into 32 8 times. Exactly. All right, so our quotient here is 2,048. Now we want to do 4,176 divided by 2. Let's see if those quotients are the same. 2 goes into 4 twice. That's 4. I'm going to bring the 1 down. 2 can't go into 1. We'll put our placeholder up. And that 1 now becomes a 17. 2 goes into 17 8 times. That's 16. Difference of 1, so we bring our 6 down. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Exactly. So these two quotients do not match, right? So that means option or statement number 1 is not true. All right. Now we want to check if statement number 2 is true. Well, we already know 8,192 divided by 4 is 2,048. So we want to check to see if 16,384 divided by 8 is also 2,048. All right, I'm going to put this up here. 8 going into 16,384. All right, so 8 goes into 16 twice. That's 16. I'm going to bring the 3 down. 8 can't go into 3. We'll put a placeholder there. I'm going to bring the 8 down. 8 goes into 38 4 times. That's 32. When we subtract, we have a difference of 6. And I'm going to bring the 4 down to make it 64. 8 goes into 64 8 times. And we have 0 remainder. So these two quotients are equal. So statement number 2 is true. So that is option B. Only statement number 2 is true. All right, on to question number 10. An ice cream shop has a total of 48 flavors of ice cream and toppings. If there are 16 flavors of ice cream, how many toppings can each child add if 8 children split the toppings equally? All right, well, we know there are 48 ice cream flavors and toppings. So ice cream plus toppings. If we take away the amount of ice cream flavors, that's going to leave us with the number of toppings. So we see we have 32 toppings. And we're saying 8 children are going to split the toppings equally. Right? So we're going to take 32 and divide it by the 8 kids. That means each child is getting 4 toppings. Choice B. Number 11. All right, the summit of a volcano is 10 kilometers above the ocean floor, not above sea level. Right, so if I draw a vertical number line here, we know this distance here is 10 kilometers. We also know sea level is 0, and that's because we're told the ocean floor has an elevation of -5 kilometers, and it is 5 kilometers below sea level. So this is at -5. That means sea level has to be 0. All right, and we want to know which statement describes sea level and the summit. Well, I know going from -5 to 0 is a distance of 5. Since we're traveling 10 kilometers to get to the summit, we have to add another 5, which means the summit is at +5. Right? And as we're reading it, that's choice A. Sea level is at 0 and the summit is 5 kilometers. All right, number 12. Point A and point B are placed on a number line. A is located at -20 and point B is 5 less than point A. Which statement is true about point B? All right, all of our options here are referencing a horizontal number line left to right, so I'm going to draw one out. I'm going to put 0 on here, and I know -20 is to the left of 0. Negative numbers are always to the left. And all our smaller numbers are to the left. So since B is less than A by 5 units, I'm going to move towards the left by 5. That's going to take us to negative 25. So which of these statements is true? Point B is located at negative 25, so automatically B and D are out. And it is to the left of point A, so it's choice C. All right, number 13. So this is not a rational number question, it's an expressions question. We're going to go through it anyways, it was in the packet. A total of 5 to the 4th power votes were cast to select the second runner-up, the first runner-up, and the winner of a singing competition. The second runner-up received 118 votes. The first runner-up received 160 votes. What's the total number of votes the winner received? Okay, so to figure out, right, we can take the total number of votes, subtract the first runner-up, subtract the second runner-up, and that would tell us how many votes the winner got. All right, so the total number of votes is 5 to the 4th power. All right, and then we're going to take away 118 and 160 votes. First runner-up was 160, second runner-up was 118. All right, so we have to figure out what is 5 to the 4th power. 5 to the 4th power means 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. And 125 times 5 is 625. So the total number of votes was 625 votes. Then we're going to subtract 160 and the 118. All right, so 625 minus 160 would be 465. And then we're going to take away 118 votes from that. Oops. So 347 votes were cast for the winner. Number 14. At a bus station, buses begin their routes at 6 a.m. The schedule for the two of the buses is based on the time intervals listed below. Bus A has a long route and leaves the station every 75 minutes. Bus B has a short route and leaves the station every 15 minutes. We want to know when's the next time bus A and B will leave the station at the same time. So this is least common multiple because this pattern is happening over and over and over again. And we'll divide by 5. Both of them end in 5. 75 divided by 5 is 15. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Both of these numbers are divisible by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 3 divided by 3 is 1. All right, least common multiple, we're going to multiply the numbers in our capital L shape. That's the 5 times 3 times 5 times 1. All right, 5 times, I'll do the 5 times 5 first, that's 25. And 25 times 3 is 75. So they're going to meet again in 75 minutes. 75 minutes is the same thing as 60 minutes plus 15 minutes. And I'm breaking it up here because 60 minutes is 1 hour. Right? So 1 hour and 15 minutes later, they're going to meet again. So we have to add this time to the 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. plus an hour 15 takes us to 7:15 a.m. Number 5, which has an absolute value greater than 5. Well, if we find the absolute value of each one, A is 6, B is 5, C is 0, and D is also 5. The only one that's greater than 5 is choice A. Number 16, Abdi has 2 electric trains They're on a circular track. They both start at the same time. Train A returns every 12 seconds. Train B returns every 9 seconds. We want to know what's the least amount of time they both will arrive at the starting point at the same time. So least amount of time implies LCM. So we're going to find the least common multiple of 12 and 9. Both divisible by 3. That's 4 and 3. And we're going to find the product of 3, 4, and 3. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. So after 36 seconds, they will be leaving the start time again, or the starting point again. All right, last question of the packet, number 17. Tristan is comparing two number patterns based on the information below. Both patterns start with the number 1. Pattern A adds 3, pattern B adds 4. How do each of the first 5 terms in pattern A compare to the first 5 terms in pattern B? So terms are just the numbers in a sequence, okay? So let's count out pattern A and pattern B. They both start at 1, and A adds 3, so the next number would be 4, then 7, then 10, and then 13. So I've listed the first 5 numbers in our pattern or sequence. Those are the first 5 terms. And I'm just going to put this out. Term number. This would be term number 1, term number 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? The position number in the sequence. Now, pattern B, we're adding 4 each time. So the next number would be 5, then 9, 13, and 17. All right, so what do we notice when we compare pattern A and pattern B? Well, the difference between them is increasing. Let's take a look, right? The difference right now for the first term is 0. Then the difference for the second term is 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. Then 9 minus 7 is 2. 13 minus 10 is 3. 17 minus 13 is 4. So the difference between our patterns increases by 1 as we get to the next term number. So how do we write that? I'm going to put it in here. The difference between we'll do B and A, because when we subtract B and A, we end up with a positive number. So the difference between B and A increases by 1 as the term number increases. So every time we get to the next term number, it increases by 1. So as the term number increases. All right, that's the end of our packet. If you have questions about any of these, you can ask in class on Google Classroom, or you can email me. I'll see you in class. Have a good day. Bye.